Jada, Pinkett, and
August,
famous August, right? So they have the red table talk, and I think it's an awesome forum. So this is going to be like our little patio
chat.
Patio chat. All right,
Yeah.
it's patio chat.
Okay.
Right? So just kind of I want to get your feedback on what you saw, because you were kind of heated.
Yeah.
Right? Why were you so heated? You know, explain to me, why was that? Why did that get you going? Like, what was it about?
So just a little background, about the whole story. Will and Jada been married for years, they have kids together. He actually left his first wife to be with Jada. They said that they were on a break when she decided to have an entanglement or an affair with August. And now Jada and Will, they're back together, and August is kind of putting her on blast, like, confessing his love for her and all these things. And a lot of people are rooting for Jada as a black woman for what she did, as if she's like a hero. The reason I'm heated about it is because, based on my faith and what I believe in, what marriage is, if you're not divorced, you're still married. If you're having sex with other people, you're cheating, period. Like, I don't know how we got to a place in society where we put a woman on a pedestal who cheated on her husband because she wanted to feel good or whatever the circumstances were. And it's just really sad. And had the tables been turned, had he had cheated on his wife, I guarantee you people wouldn't be rooting for Will the way they rooted for Jada. They'd be dragged into the dirt. But because we are in a feminist movement and a woman empowerment, and pair that with a lot of women who are hurt, who want to seek revenge on men subliminally or subconsciously, they are rooting for Jada in some strange, vicarious way. But wrong is wrong. I don't care how popular you are. I know we love Will and Jada, but wrong is wrong.
When I saw it personally, what hurt me, or I won't say hurt me, but it really just, for me, showed how we view relationships. And I think a lot of stuff that that when I read it, God was telling me, you know what? And I think I was showing you how can I bring something teachable out of the situation, right? So for me, yesterday I kind of just started reading, and I'll share it with you, some of the stuff that I learned from it, because I know, you tell me a lot about how you feel about emotional bonding. Right? You tell me all the time, and you're very particular on what I say on Facebook and how I interact with the people I work with. Opposite sex. For a long time, I thought you were just being overly paranoid, jealous, insecure. Right? That's what I thought.
Okay.
So, but the more I read the word, the more I see what's happening. Even there was a guy I was listening to on the radio the other day. He wrote a book. He's a business owner, and he was talking about how, as an owner, he doesn't stay in the office with another female by himself. If he has to book a trip and a flight, he doesn't book the trip and the flight next to a woman, and they have to take a car to the location. He doesn't do that. They take separate cars because he is so adamant about protecting his marriage from the connection. And when I heard Jada's interview, it was about 12 minutes long. I went back and I listened to it, and it first said, it started off with August. Yeah, it's like the month, right? When it started off with August saying he needed help, and she wanted to help him. And I think I was saying, I think it's dangerous sometimes when you're a woman and you're trying to minister to another man, or if you're a man trying to minister to another woman. The reason why I'm seeing it's dangerous is because it opens up the door for an emotional bond emotional bonding, right? And I think that's what you was telling me. The emotional bonding is dangerous, especially when you're hurting. You know, when you're hurting and the other person hurting, and you're sitting up there getting something from that person because they're ministering to you, they're healing you, you know, and you start sometimes misinterpreting that as a connection. And when she said that's how it started for them, now I can understand more and more why you are so adamant on how I connect with other women and other men. I mean,
not men. It's been women that's been the issue. You know, it hadn't always been like that. You know, and I think even with marriage and getting your rhythm and learning one another, that's the important part. And Will and Jada have been together for years, and there have been rumors that they've had open marriages for years, and that Will Smith was with all these other women in the past. But this is the first that we've heard of Jada being with a man, and it's like everyone's behaving as if this is new information, and it's not. Like Pastor Todd once said, trust is broken in buckets, but it's regained in drops. And I think even in our case, that's what happened, because it wasn't until there were interactions with other women before I realized, okay, let's switch gears, let's put up some barriers and boundaries to protect our marriage so we don't end up in certain situations again. And that's really where that came from. But even with the Will and Jada situation, with August coming out, it's been rumored that he has an album coming out. Some people are saying, oh, well, he's just so in love with Jada because she's an older woman and her sex was so good, he can't control himself. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm not saying she may not be good in bed, but I'm saying that I believe it's way more than him being romanticized as if this affair just brought so much love out of him he can't control himself. He's looking for an opportunity, because they've slept with lots of people from what we've heard over the years, and you don't really hear the other people that they slept with really coming out unless there's something to gain from it. And if he was so in love with her, he would be looking to protect her, not ruin her reputation by telling the world that they were together.
Well, you know, I don't want to get too much into what's going on in their bedroom, because they're going to always come back. What I can take from it was, from what I can see is, never, when you are in a relationship, what I learned is, emotional bonding is very innocent in the beginning. But it's so dangerous because you don't know that you're falling for this other person.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know it. It sneaks up on you. And before you know it, you connected with them. Now you feel like you're in love, and you feel like that they get you. So what I learned from this whole thing, from Jada's story and the real story, is this is so dangerous to connect with someone of the opposite sex. And when you're trying to help someone, sometimes it's best to let a man talk to a man and let a woman talk to a woman. I just feel like maybe if Will was ministering to August, not Jada, that opens up the door, because the devil comes in very innocent. He never comes with horns. He never comes with a red suit on. He never comes with fire. He always comes very subtle, and he always comes in an area that's innocent to you. Like, she probably felt like I had something to offer him, and he needed help. That's how he gets you. So, you know, you're a woman. Nobody can reach a man. I don't believe a man needs to go to a man and a woman needs to go to a woman. Not saying that a woman can't get something from a man and vice versa, but you open up the door to emotional bonding when it's the opposite sex, because it's a natural progression of feelings when you're opposite. That's why I think it's dangerous to do that bonding or to minister to people in that way. Very intimate. Especially
if you each have a need that wants to be filled, because they were both hurting and wanting to feel good.
Yeah, but I think that one of the things that Jada was saying, one thing I was hearing, she kept using the words entanglement, and you know, now Facebook is going crazy with this word entanglement. One thing I learned too, we don't like to own when we do something wrong, because it makes us feel good. Well, not makes us feel good, but it keeps us from realizing that we made a mistake. And anytime I feel like you don't own up to your mistakes, you don't deal with your mistakes. So when you use words like entanglement instead of an affair, because it wasn't an affair. Technically, she was married, we was married. It was an affair. I don't care what the situation was. I don't care if it was just a piece of paper. Legally, it was an affair. So when you don't, but those words are so big and they are so hurtful that we don't like to use them. And we don't like to take responsibility for what we did. So I think that's why she was jumping around.
An affair is not a pretty word. So let's soften the blow. Let's say entanglement, because it wasn't as serious as an affair. It was just a, you know, but Will called her out. He was like, it was a whole relationship. Which it was. It was a relationship. Yeah. Even though he was wrong, she was wrong.
And that's another thing too. I think you told me about. I think sometimes when you find your spouse doing something wrong, you get the justification to be wrong too. You make in your mind and make it right. Well, if he did it, then I can do it. But that says more about you than it does about the relationship. When you, because it's like you ain't gonna. There was an old saying, say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, or don't cut your nose to spite your face. You still doing damage to your own physical self when you say, well, he cheated, so I'm gonna cheat, or she cheated, I'm gonna cheat. You still, but then you bring it in another thing, right? She was hurting, and August, he was hurting, but they was in a relationship. They was married, and I know he said, I saw the will. He gave me my blessing. Whatever conversation that he had, it was a conversation that was had. And they knew what was going to go down. People got to stop bringing in other people into their messy world. Right? Because it's not fair. Because there's people that are literally kill people because they fell in love with someone. Like those threesomes, foursomes, cheating. You are only trying to satisfy yourself at the time, and you don't pay attention to what you're doing. So you end up bringing somebody into your marriage or your relationship that's innocent-ish, because sometimes they know what's going on. Because you tell them, oh, we really just living together, we're not married. That's the one on your show right now. Big Papa, an old girl, right, from Atlanta Housewives, you watching?
Oh, yeah.
And she keeps saying, well, he proposing to me with a ring. And they like, well, how you going to be proposed? He's sitting there, that man married to his wife and living in the house. Like, why do we keep bringing people into messy situations?
People are selfish by nature, but I'm glad you brought up the point, because it's a really valid point. She's hurting. She's looking to feel good or feel better. Even if your husband is cheating, why put your life, your health, your sexual health, your state of mind, your spiritual aura on the line for the sake of bonding with somebody else? If you feel like you're hurting and that you need something, take up a new hobby. Go to counseling, do something constructive. Don't bring in other people that have their own set of problems and their own emotions and motives into an already complicated situation, because it's just going to make it more complicated. And as far as the Will Smith giving his blessings, like I said, I can only speak from the spectrum of how I view marriage. Every relationship has its own DNA. I've known of open marriages that have rules that you can have sex with other people, but I don't consider it cheating unless you have sex with somebody that I don't know. So there's that. So it's kind of hard for me to gauge, on where they're at as far as how their marriage is structured and what their boundaries really truly are. But for what marriage was created to be, it is completely and totally out of order. Everybody's wrong. Yeah. And I've never seen a man so calm, Will Smith and Red Table Talk. I've never seen a man so calm about.
He said it was calm because it's old. He said they dealt with this 4 years ago. So I guess he said he was calm because they've already dealt with it. So,
okay. I didn't know that. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's why it was like, it's new to y'all, but we've already dealt with it. And she was saying after that whole situation happened, she hadn't talked to August for years. And so she's kind of baffled to why it's all coming out now. But he's saying it's coming out because he's losing friends and stuff. I don't know.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Messages. And that's another thing. It doesn't go away. Just because you're done having sex for the moment, it doesn't go away. That memory is still there. That experience is still there. It don't go away that easy.
Well, it may went away for her.
Well, not for, well,
but not for him.
I'm saying that the experience, it may have gone away for her, but the experience itself never goes away.
It's because it's back.
It can always come back.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Thank God she didn't have no kids. You know, people, I saw some people posting, well, at least she didn't come back with no babies. At least. Girl, it's just, it's a lot.
You're right. It came back. That's a good point. It did come back, right?
It always has an opportunity to come back once that door is open.
Dang, I didn't think about that. It did come back. Even though she said she ain't talked to him no more. Even though they dealt with it.
And now they have to relive it all over again.
Man, he ain't dealt with it. Apparently, because August is the one that's coming out. They ain't came out. See, they was trying to keep it private and keep it secret and deal with it. But the fact that he came out with it lets you know that just because they cool with it, don't mean that the other person ain't cool with it. Or that they ain't.
Right.
You know, even if it is a publicity stunt or whatever. We don't know. But you can't have a publicity stunt without the stunt. Right?
Good point.
It happened. It happened, right? So that's crazy. You know, so that's why I think, you know, not being with someone, dealing with the mess before you get into a relationship, closing those doors, right? You know, closing those doors. And I know sometimes it's hard because sometimes if you're going through a divorce legally, I know people that's been married for 5 years on paper because things have happened. You know, even my dad, who's in prison, who'll be getting out in August 14th, praise God for that. He's technically married to a woman, but he can't find her to get the paperwork done.
What do you mean?
See, he can't. He's trying to serve the paperwork, but he's trying to get a divorce from prison. He's trying to get a divorce, but he can't find her. He don't know where she at. So that's a whole different situation. But there have been situations when you're here, it takes a while to get a divorce, but you can't find a person. It's still a process. Then when you go start a relationship with someone else, I guess you feel like technically I'm not with that person, so I can start a relationship. And that's kind of sketchy because, like someone says, what if they get back together?
There's always that what if. Now, there's one thing, you know, divorcing on paper and then spiritually divorcing as well. You know what I mean? So I know I had experienced a spiritual divorce before my paperwork went through in my previous marriage. So it does vary for everybody. And there are options, publicated divorce. If you're in an event, you can't find the other party, and they may disappear because they don't want the divorce. And, you know, there are other ways, but it can get complicated. Yeah, if you have been separated because the other party refuses to comply and sign the paperwork, it kind of leaves you paralyzed where you can't live out your life or move on to other relationships.
Yeah, that's a messed up situation. It does happen. It does happen, but we got to, that's why, man, I think the moral to the story is, with a situation, because Jada said, I wanted to feel good. She said, why you do it? Because I wanted to feel good. Reminds me of the movie A Monsters Ball, when Holly Perry got with the character. She said, make me feel good.
She was so sad and distraught and everything.
Right, because you know why? Sex does make people feel good. And that's
endorphins. It's
endorphins, right? I get it. But it's way more than just the endorphins. Right now, she's dealing with a whole lot of backlash. Her kids got here. It's just
embarrassing.
And it may not.
There's many ways to feel good. Go for a walk.
Yeah.
Read a book. But I understand, you know, like people want that personal connection sometimes, but it's way more detrimental than it is beneficial.
Well, I think for them, because they celebrities and they probably used to it, they can probably pass over it. But for those people, I feel that see their story, because we all are influential in some way or shape or form. And I hear a lot of people now here saying, like, yeah, Jada, that's what happens. And yeah, Will, this is, and I hear a lot of jokes. But the sadness of the relationships are, our relationships are falling. They're being destroyed. They're all entangled. We don't know what we're doing. And there's a real sadness going on when it pertains to marriages and relationships. And seeing this, you know, whether it's Jada creeping or Will or whoever, because there's a lot of creeping, dipping, slipping, there's a lot of fornicating, a lot of adult, there's a lot going on in this world when it comes to marriage. And I ain't gonna lie, marriages can be difficult. Well, I won't say marriages are difficult because the saints in marriage is not, but when you're dealing with broken people make marriages work hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she was going through something, and she said she used that experience to learn something about herself. She said she doesn't call it a transgression. Again, when we use these words to lie to ourselves so that we don't feel condemned by the wrong that we do, we never really face it. So we make it okay. Well,
and the danger in that is when you skirt around the blunt truth of what it really was, face the ugliness of the reality of what it really is, it kind of leaves you susceptible to happening again. You gotta make it hurt sometimes. You gotta eat that to feel it, digest it, get sick from it, so it makes you never want to do it again. But when you kind of pacify, like, well, it really wasn't that bad, and then, you know, another opportunity may present itself, you may or may not go for it. But if you didn't feel that bad about it the first time, what makes you think that you won't feel bad about potentially going into it the second time?
You won't. You won't feel bad about it. You're right. That's a good point. If you don't own up to it, you won't feel bad about it. If you don't feel bad about it, we don't do things that makes us feel bad. We only do things that makes us feel good, right? That's why she did, right? Because she didn't look at it as being bad. She was more concerned about it making her feel good.
Self-care, if you will.
So we only do things that make us feel good.
Right.
So if we use words that makes us feel good about why we did it, then we'll continue to do it. If we use words of what they really are called, it's an adulteress, it's an affair, you was wrong, it makes us say, I can't do that no more.
And then even how they presented it, you know, I didn't know that they resolved it 4 years ago, but because it's new to the public, they have to deal with it all over again, but publicly, and they have to address it publicly. Hence the Red Table Talk conversation. And because of their attitude and how they're viewing it, it's kind of setting the tone how everybody else is expected to view it too.
Exactly.
And it's worse.
That's what I said. They are influencing people, right? So I think as people, for believers that love God and is trying to follow His word, it's important for people to live their great marriages, their kingdom marriages out in the open. Because we need some examples. When you got a platform like the Red Table Talk, you put it out there and you use words and stuff, that's a platform, right? So we have to always tell our truth. You know, what happened was wrong. It was not an entanglement. It was an affair. It was a transgression. It was a sin. When you're in marriage, make sure your marriage is ended legally. And spiritually, but legally. Because when they come back, if they come back, now you got a mess.
Oh, man.
You got a whole mess.
And even with the influence, I already see it taking control of social media, all the platforms, from TikTok to Facebook to now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, particularly black women rooting for her, like I said earlier in our video. And it's really sad. It's really sad because now they're allowing their influence to shape their personal beliefs. Like, well, if Jada said that it was just an entanglement, then maybe it's not as bad if I do it.
Most of them are doing it anyway. Most of them are the person that they're getting creeped with. We want relationships so damn bad, man, that we are willing to take garbage. And that's not how it's supposed to be. I think so many people are so focused on making themselves feel good than being good.
Wow. Yeah.
You know? And it's like, come on, man. It's not that serious. Then we got babies and families are being destroyed, all for what? Relationships are not meant to make you feel good. Right. You're supposed to be good all by yourself.
That's right.
Right? They should have let that thing go. Okay, now he said that it was through, it was over, it was hurting. I get that. I get when it's like that, right? And I get the temptation of, because sometimes it's easier just to jump into something than to deal with the pain. Sometimes it's easier to just mask it. I know it's messed up, we over, I ain't got time, it's gonna take a time, I need to hurry up and get myself back into something so I can feel good about myself. It never works out because you're bringing somebody else into your mess and it ain't fair to the other person, and then you got kids, and what if she would have had a baby?
Or STD, like your whole life is on the line. You don't know where this man has been, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, but most people don't request for their new partners to get sexually transmitted disease screening and testing. You know, that old saying of the quickest and best way to get over someone is to get under someone new.
We get all
really? That's like, it's a user mentality. It's so selfish by nature. You're going to use this whole other person because of what you're going through personally. That ain't right.
I know, but that's what they teach us. That's what media teaches us. That's what music teaches us. It ain't right. I've been duped by so many things that the media has taught me, and I'm still fighting at 43 the shame and the hurt and the memories and the stuff that I've put myself through. I understand when relationships go through something and you're hurting and you want that weight to go and pain to go. I get it. I understand it, Jada. And for anybody else, I get it. I'm not coming down on anybody. I'm just highlighting the dangers of it. That it may feel good now, but the repercussions, like you said, they dealt with it 4 years ago. And this is 4.5 to 4 years later, and now they're still
We've been married for 4 years. So it's been that long. Just put things in perspective. Like, a lot has happened in 4 years. And it's like they hold it in their back pocket to the right moment.
And it always comes back, right? The Bible says what goes on in the dark will come to light. It's coming to light. I'm just here to say it ain't right. She was wrong. We can't keep bringing people into our mess. We can't use people to make us feel good. We have to start calling our sin a sin. Because if we don't, we won't deal with it. We'll lie to ourselves. And then we'll make it look right to other people. All right? That's not right. We can't do that. What else did I learn about that? You know, somebody made a post. They did a funny thing. It's like, you know, we ride together, we die together. Bad marriages for life, right? And then I had a fist bump. And somebody, the single people was like, ugh, bad marriages for life. Like, that don't seem like something I want to get a part of. And maybe they said it in jest. Maybe it was a little bit of jest.
Satire.
Maybe it was satire, right? And I think that we have come into a place in society where we just expect marriages to be bad. I think we have held on to the fact that everybody fights, marriages are bad, and you just buckle down and you plow through.
Especially with Will and Jada, because so many of us look up to them. Especially as a black couple, like a black power couple. They got their children, their careers, they're successful. Then the bombers drop like this, and it's like, well, if their marriage is in this situation, and there's no hope for the rest of us, which isn't true. But you know, they always say the one with the biggest mouth has the score. It don't necessarily mean that you're right just because you talk louder than everybody else, or because you have a platform. Because at the end of the day, wrong is wrong and right is still right. I don't care how popular you are, how good you look. It is what it is.
Marriage is wrong. I mean, marriage is not hard. It's the people. What's hard is self-sacrificing. That's what's hard. Marriage ain't hard. It's when you have to self-sacrifice, compromise with another person, not getting your way, humbling yourselves. That's hard. Because you're going against your flesh.
So what people don't realize is, at the end of the day, even though it's hard to do that, it develops you as a person to so many different levels.
Yeah.
It don't feel good, but it does something good for you.
Yeah, you know? Like going to the gym. Sometimes you don't want to go, but you never regret not going.
True.
All right.
True.
And I heard that I'm not Jada Pinkett. Devon Franklin told Megan Good that, and she was like, "Well, what is motivated to go to the gym?" And he's like, "Well, you won't regret not doing it. So I don't want to steal nobody's. I don't want to favorize anybody's statement. What you won't regret not doing it. Yeah, it is self-discipline, and you do become better for it. But I ain't gonna lie, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Even talking sometimes, even setting this up, talking to you, I can feel the conflict that we were starting to have, and I think it came from old habits of who's going to be in charge. Is it going to be my way? Is it going to be your way? And I felt that. I felt that you had a little bit of animosity, and not even animosity, but you had this. I felt like you had this thought process, like my voice will be heard today. We ain't going to just do it your way. I'm going to speak my piece.
I want to participate.
I know, and I felt the animosity to it, and I'm like, you know what? Let me sit back. Let me do it. It took a minute to me to adjust it, because I know in the past I've been a bully. I know in the past I've kind of do things my way, and you didn't say anything, and that built up animosity for you to not want to do things. So it's not always comfortable, growth, even for me. for us, you know, working together. But the greater good is possibly inspiring somebody, right? That's the greater good. But sometimes we have to fight through our own pride and ego to get through it. And I had to change my behavior. I knew at times I was not nice to you. The spoiled brat. I didn't do things, and I caused a very uncomfortable environment for us. I know I've done that, and I know that has not produced any fruit in our marriage. That has not produced any fruit in my life. And so I had to learn to work through that. But it don't feel good to my flesh now. So I know that it don't feel good sometimes to have to grow.
Yet it was beneficial.
Yeah, but it didn't feel good. The whole gym analogy. Yeah, it didn't feel good. You know, I felt us getting into it, and I'm like, man, but that's why I feel like the goal has to be bigger than your frustration. Yeah. Because, you know, I'm like, you know what? I want to be successful in what we do. I want to be successful in this. So that has to be bigger than my discomfort. And I think that's in relationships and marriage, right? If you don't feel that your marriage, the goal of it, is bigger than you dealing with feeling good right now, then you're going to make those wrong choices.
Case in point, Will and Jada.
Yeah, and I think
look at the bigger goal. Don't be so stuck in. Don't make a permanent decision based off a temporary situation.
That's hard.
You want to feel good. You want this to you, but look at the long run outcome, the consequences. She was able to probably see into the future and know the consequences that will come of this. I'm pretty sure she would make different decisions.
I think everybody do, and but that we don't see it, God do, and that's what makes marriage hard. It's us. It's us. It's us. Every day we have to overcome something. Every day we have to overcome something to make our marriage work, to make our life work, to make our jobs work, to make being a parent work. Every day it's a fight to overcome. Some days you win, some days you lose. But you have to have something. It's worth getting up, fighting for. Your marriage has to be something worth fighting for. And it's hard when one person wants to fight and the other person don't. We've had that in our marriage where you wanted to fight more than me.
Fight. Like, we have to be careful, like, what we mean by fight. Are we saying fight as in conflict, or fighting for pushing for?
Fighting for pushing forward.
Forward, okay.
For what's right. Not fight us, but fight to make it work. Fight to have it. And I haven't been that way most of the marriage. You have. And when you gave up, or when you stopped fighting, that's when you wanted to leave. That's when God woke me up. Like, okay, you're gonna lose this. So that's the hard part, and I think we have to constantly do that. So, you know, I pray for the Will and Jadas of the world, but the more so the people who bringing someone into their marriage or their relationship when they haven't closed the door. You can't do that. It's just not going to do. It's just, and why? Why do that? Why bring somebody in when you're not ready? Why? When you got together, you didn't want to bring me in because you felt like you wasn't ready. And you felt like you was hurt. I know I pressed, but that's dangerous to heal. It's not dangerous. It's important to heal. It's important to get your heart right by God. Those things are important. They are. It's important to call sin and not anything else. You gotta call it what it is, or you won't get it. It's important for kingdom people to show light in marriages and relationships, because the world's going to show different, and it ain't going to be for everybody. I think those are some of the things I've learned. It's important to know. I feel a lot of people talk about that little hookup or emotional bonding. Thank you, Holy Spirit. It's important to guard your heart against emotional bonding.
Yes.
That's the most quickest way to commit adultery, was emotional bonding, because it sneaks up on you. Yes. Right? You mad at your spouse, and all it takes is that one person to say that one good thing to you, bring you lunch, pat you on the back, rub you, literally touch you, because you ain't been touched in your marriage, and you mess around and get touched by somebody else. Those things open up doors to your soul. You gotta guard yourself against that. The Bible says you cannot hold fire in your bosom without getting burned. Meaning you can't play with fire and not expect it to affect you.
Yeah, that's just another level of people accepting those things so they can feel good. It's about feeling validated, and worthy, and admired, and important.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still selfishly driven, but at the cost of what?
At the cost of what? You know, and I think that's why God is calling us to be examples and to be transparent. You know, I was frustrated this morning, so I'm sorry if I came off a little cranky. I'm gonna learn to be a little bit more open to you and not be a bully. And, you know, I'm definitely better than what I used to.
Yeah, I definitely want to give you your props because you were very flexible. You know, you were a lot more flexible
than I normally am. I am.
So thank you for allowing me to have a voice and participating and making suggestions on how to set the candles, you know, and make it pretty. So I thank you for allowing me to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me. I feel valued when you allow me that.
Yeah, and I had to learn. You know, I know sometimes I can bully because I feel like I know what's best, but that's the thing about marriage. It's not always about what I want. It's not always about what you want. And that's the hard part, especially when I'm a leader and it's like I'm leading. You know, so I got to learn to be more flexible and just so we can be a blessing to other people. So we're going to keep doing that. So like I said, we're going to pray for them. We hope that, you know, people can get something good. We can use that as a teachable moment and not just make fun of it, not just create memes, not just, you know what I'm saying? And I poke fun at it. I think I made a really funny statement on my Facebook. I said, I don't cheat on my diet. I just got entangled with Buffalo Wild Wings. You know, because I saw something that was funny, but it's not a joking matter. It's serious that we can't get entangled, because really what you're getting entangled with is the soul.
Ooh, yes.
That's the real thing that you entangled with. Your soul just got entangled with that young man, and then Will gets past sex, and he has people. We got too many spirits entangling.
Too many body fluids, soul ties, sexual energies,
it's too much.
Memories. You can't get rid of those memories. It was 4 years ago, but he still remember. They all still remember.
They all still remember. Now there's
a stain in the marriage.
It's a stain. It's a stain.
It's never going to be washed away.
Now they got, I think I saw a post, I guess in August, got a post of him in his drawers that's been circulating and stuff, and all the women talking about how hung he is and how he must have blew Jada's back out. And now these are other images that are now not just that they have to be subject to, but we have to be subject to, because it's all on our timeline. And what that does is that interjects into other people. I'm sure that has caused issues in people's relationships. That conversation and that is probably affecting other people's relationships.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's not good. It's a snowball effect, right? So we gonna pray the glory to God, that God is, you know, bring healing in our land as it relates to marriages and relationships. That people follow Him, but without Him, you won't be happy. Without Him, you won't be able to get through. Without Him, you won't be able to work through any of the things that you talk about doing in marriage. So I need Him every day. I need Him, because every day, like I said, every day you have to overcome something. So you got anything you want to say before we finish our patio chat today?
That's everything I have to say about it.
All right. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking and sharing your thoughts on it. I hope maybe we can see you some more on patio chats. You know?
Well, I'll always be here because I'm Coach My Love, Coach Shavon.
Oh, that's right. You're right. You are a relationship coach.
We always gonna be here.
Yeah, that's why I think I want to be a relationship coach, is to really help people coach them through.
Yeah.
And, you know, we learn from other people, and it makes us better, and we all be better, right?
Right.
All right. Well, all right. Then I guess I'll see you later next time, right?
See you.
Or whatever.